Oh, thanks.
All right, so normally when people ask questions, we respond in emails or we'll just like respond to the post, and we try to get everybody. There's a lot of people that post, and we're not there to get everybody, but we try our best.
Yeah.
If it's a legitimate question, you know, I always promise answers. And there was one guy named, was it Tom?
Tom Arrow.
Tom Arrow asked us a question. I said, man, we could do a whole show on that, Tom, so here's the show. Mm-hmm. In response to Tom.
So Tom's question was, I'm sorry, I don't have any knowledge about skeletal locking. I'm sure he was responding to maybe a message you sent to him. Are there good sources on this, or do you suggest I just try it? Another question, I consider...
Well, let's hold on. So, okay, so skeletal locking. Do I suggest you just try it? Why not? You're only going to hurt somebody. I say go for it. I give it a shot. The problem is that if you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to have a lot of success. The plan is that what you have to do is you have to see the in and the yo. Both sides. The in is locking exists. The yo is there's no such thing as locking. When you first learn Taijutsu no Kamae, your transitory positions of hand-to-hand combat, a person who may be coming from another martial art might look at it as like, oh, I'm in this stance. And we say, no, there's no such thing as a stance. There's only transitory positions. It's to learn a position so that it can be your go-to, and so that you can immediately leave it. So the plan is that it would be a split-second position. It wouldn't be something to maintain. It wouldn't be something to get into.
Wouldn't be like one of these where you just...
No,
you're waiting for something.
You don't hang out. You don't hang out there.
Right.
So that millisecond position, that is what we would call a lock. So when people say katame waza or garame waza, locking techniques or entanglement techniques, what we're talking about is a transitory concept, not a stationary, I got you in this lock. There's no such thing as that. In my understanding, in my teachings, there's no such thing as that. It's transitory. So the person says, get me into this lock and I'll show you how I can get out of it. And I say, there's no possible way that you're going to get out of my lock. What? They say, I'll get out of any lock. My lock is transitory. There's no me holding you in a position and then you trying to get out of it. I'm moving through that position to break you, to throw you, to do other things, to weaponize you, to use you against someone else. There's no, I've locked you. There's no such thing. Having said that, there is such a thing as a lock. What does that mean? I'm saying there's no such thing, there is such a thing. In teaching and in learning, we break it down and we say, apple is spelled with an A. Now let's study A. And that's really what it is. And we're not going to get to the E yet. You know, the concept is that if we're breaking it down, here's a finger lock. And the finger lock is here. Okay? And that's just me applying pressure here. Simple concept. Where it becomes cognitive is what we don't want to do is we don't want to understand what cognitive pressure is. We don't want to apply pressure against the joint in one direction, because that can be fought against. The mind, not to give too much away, but to answer the question, because I always said I'm going to, the mind can deal with multiple directions. So what we want to do is we want to apply pressure here, but what we really want to do is we want to spiral and apply pressure here. Now when we apply pressure here, that can be fought against.
Right.
He knows what he's doing, and it's easy. Yeah, wiggle, do all kinds of things to get out. When we spiral into it, we're applying pressure on multiple levels.
I can't get out of that.
Because no matter what direction he pushes or pulls in, I'm also moving in that direction. So he's only helping and benefiting my technique. What if I move that way? Well, I am moving that way. So you're helping me move that way. What if I move this way? Well, I am moving this way.
Yeah, I definitely couldn't get out of that.
So it's not a concept of I move here so you do a counter movement. I move everywhere. So when you do a counter movement, I am doing that. I'm doing that movement, this movement, all of those movements. Does that make sense? Now, what makes it cognitive? What makes it cognitive is, this is the point of connection, but that's not what I'm interested in. I'm interested in that traveling. So I connect here, to connect here, to connect here, to connect through here, into here, bypassing this, grabbing the scapula and digging it into the spine. That's my plan. Now, that might be when you're looking at it, you might say, okay, well, he turned his hand. No, turning his hand, that's one direction of force.
That doesn't affect my spine.
That doesn't affect the spine. You need to spiral in. Spiraling in affects the spine. Does that make sense? So the point of connection may be the fingers, but the point of connection could be anywhere. I could bypass all of this, and I can come here and get the same effect. Now, you might say, oh yeah, I know how to do that. You take the rotator cuff, you rotate it over, you grab the clavicle, and you push the clavicle into the chest so that you crush the chest cavity. That's one component. Stealing the breath, that's great, and I've seen a lot of martial artists do that, where they get the guy here, and now the spine's arced, and they can't breathe. That's wonderful. That's one component. That's not cognitive locking. Cognitive locking is going further. It's locking one to lock them all. All right. Hopefully that answered a little bit of your questions. Where are you going to get that information? Get it here, folks. I'm sorry, but if other people were this open, I would say go for it. Now that we said that, you're going to have 100 instructors saying, I've been doing that for years. That's what I've been saying for years. Because for some reason we have a lack of humility in the martial arts today. But what are you going to do? I guess I'm in agreement with all those people that have been saying it for years.
All right.
Next question.
So the next part of Tom Arrow's question was, I consider learning Aiki, and I'm especially interested in very realistic and deadly version, as is usually being connected to samurai.
Okay. So I too am very interested in deadly and brutal versions. There's no other way to train. You could train it slow, but that's just to learn it. And then once you've developed it to a certain degree, it has to be as hard as you can possibly hit. It's got to be as fast as you can strike. You got to do it against every person that you know, so you can get different body types. And then once you can handle that, you need to involve more people. And the contact area needs to constantly change. So, what does that mean? That means, to be realistic, you need to drop this concept. Okay, from a grab. It's not from a grab. That's from a grab. It's not from a grab. From a grab to the arm. It's not from a grab to the arm. He grabs the wrist. It's not the grab from the wrist. He throws a punch. It's not the punch. It's anything. It's everything. So when we're learning against that choke here, right? It's anything. It's anything. It's anything, and here's the other part, it's everything. Now, this is an important concept too. Once you get an understanding of doing it from a wrist grab, then do it from an arm grab, do it from a lapel grab, do it from a sleeve, sode, do it from the throat, do it from someone trying to push your eyeball in, right? Like that, right? Okay, they're not pushing my you do it from anything and everything.
What about an ear grab?
Yeah, well, that's weird, but come back.
You never know. My mom might try and grab
You never know. Okay, do it from a hair grab. Do it from So what we need to do is we need to get away from the idea of like this is from this. We do this from this. No, we do everything from everything. This is Sogobujutsu, the integration of all concepts and techniques. Now, once you get that, varying ability. What do I mean by that? I mean you need a flexible guy. You need a guy that's super tight. He's just a statue. He comes in and he locks it in. You need that guy. You need the guy that's a worm. He's like Gumby. I'm going to hold you like this. And as soon as you try to move cognitively through him, he just gives up. He just constantly gives up. You need that guy. I needed that guy to forge myself. You need the guy that comes in hard, and you need the guy that comes in soft. Anybody who says, "Oh well, I just train against the hardest attackers," that's wonderful. That's one side. What about these weird Russian jiu-jitsu guys, right? They come in hard and soft at the same time. What about them? You can't just train your technique against somebody that's going to put it on hard, because there are people that are training against that.
Hey!
And now, I want you to check out a very old segment, Technique of the Week.
Technique of the week!
Technique of the week.
Now, classically, what was done was very different. When a person were to attack, what you would do is you would invite that attack. That might sound strange. Classically, versus modern martial arts. Modern martial arts, you evade the attack, you stop the attack, you get away from the attack. Classically, you invite the attack, you appreciate the attack. Why? Because you didn't have a choice. If this person had trained since age 3 to kill you, and he wants to punch you, he's going to punch you. If he wanted to kick you, he's going to kick you. You attempting to block that kick will just make him laugh. If that makes sense. So the samurai warrior had to develop a different approach. It couldn't be about trying to stop the attack. That was an impossibility. The attack was way too powerful. You had to invite it. You were forced to appreciate it. Does that make sense? So, if we take a look at this strangulation, okay? If we look at what we commonly see in martial arts, there's a lot of trying to stop this from happening, right? And what we also see is people trying to retaliate with strikes. But if we think about that, he's got my Adam's apple and he's forcing it into the back of my neck. If I punch him in the face, that might be a good trade-off for him. He might be like, that's okay, you can punch me in the face, I get to kill you. Right? That's a good trade. So me hitting him, right? Here. It's not going to last too long. I'm losing air as I'm being choked. Does that make sense? He knows that. So if he knew how to strangle, trust me, it does. What we need to do is we need to invite it, appreciate it, use it, and accept it. Here. Here. Now, through our understanding of cognitive rotation and cognitive blocking, we use the committed attack to fuel a lock that goes into the spine. If you take a look at what the classical form demonstrates, it's very different from what we see in martial arts today. If we take a look at something simple like a wrist grab, if he grabs my wrist, the modern concept is to get away from this. Let's watch. There's an acceptance of the force, and that might look a little strange. I can't do that without his help. His force comes in, it forces me down. I feel it, it weights me. I draw that energy in, up, and lock his spine with it. Once his spine's locked, very minimal connection needs to occur. Very minimal connection needs to occur. Now before the spine's locked, that's hard to do. Before that spine's locked, if he throws a punch, I gotta deal with that punch. I gotta strike him, I gotta hit him, I gotta do everything that every other martial artist does. But if I understand that force, then I understand what he relies on. I understand how to utilize it. That's a spine lock. The way I got that spine lock was from him. He gave it to me.
Okay, so I had a couple of students named Jack, but one of the students, I don't
know how he got the story. I think because he tried his best to do this diving roll one time. He like jumped up, this like insane diving roll, and they called him Super Jack. Remember Super Jack? I won't use his last name in case, I don't know, in case he doesn't want the story told. So he wasn't a student for very long. A student for like 6 months. Not long.
I think we've had some weirdos.
He was a good kid though. Sensei, I just want to learn how to kill people. I just want to learn how to kill people. He'd say that all the time. I'd say, well, that's not a problem. The problem is teaching you when and where to use it. Make sure you don't do it inappropriately. I just want to learn how to kill people. He was a teenager and he was getting picked on really bad by this bully, like super bad. So, he's in gym class and he came from like a well-to-do neighborhood, well-to-do school. School had its own tennis courts. So, he, what does he do? He gets in this fight. This kid's picking on him like crazy. He deflects a punch, slips underneath the guy's arm, hits him in the throat. Cat. Hits the guy in the throat. He starts choking him out. He choked him out. And then after he choked him out, he's counting like to 10 because I told him you can't keep him out too long. So he's counting to 10. He lets the guy go. Everybody thinks like this guy's amazing. Everybody thinks Jack's amazing. And I'm telling him, this isn't Tool Sensei, it's different Jack. I'm telling him, Jack, that's wonderful that you choked out the bully. I said, but you need more training and you need to work on it. This is a wonderful success. Nope, I'm good. I got it. I was like, well, what do you mean? So if he ever tries it again, I'm gonna choke him out again. I was like, I'm pretty sure he'll never try it again, Jack. He goes, yeah, he won't. Everybody's making fun of him. Everybody's like, you're lucky to be alive. Jack could have killed you. And this guy respects me now. He fears me now. I'm good. I go, well, yeah, but that's not why we learn martial arts. Not to learn like one move, Nope, I'm good. He quits my school because of it. That I learned is that I was pushing the kids to learn more martial arts, and martial arts is not for everybody. What it comes down to is that kid needed a little bit of confidence, and he needed a couple of techniques. He needed enough skill to overcome his bully, because that bully was messing with him for years. And he earned it. He trained it, he earned it. It took him 6 months to reach his goal, and he was good. He never received a belt from me. He never achieved a rank, but he didn't want a rank.
I don't even know what the rank was going.
He wanted to be able to do what he did, and he did it. And that was it.
I can't stand people like that.
Well, you know what? For a long time I couldn't either, because I wanted them to be interested in martial arts for the reasons that I was interested in it. But looking back, I'm really glad that I was able to help him, and I'm happy for him, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him that he was able to do what he set out to do. And that was take apart the guy that gave him the most trouble in his life. And you know what? He graduated a hero, I mean, he was probably a sophomore when he did that. I'm sure that story carried for years. I'm sure in the high school reunions, they're going to talk about how Super Jack just destroyed this bully and how, So, happy to help. And I mean, you should have seen this kid. He was like, you taught me everything I ever needed to know, Sensei. Thank you so much. I quit. And it was the weirdest thing. I was like, wait, what? Listen, if you have this huge success, you should be like locked to martial arts now. You should be super dedicated, like you would never quit. Nope, this is why I joined. This is why I spent the time, because he spent a lot of time learning. He spent a lot of time training. He had a lot of potential. But he was in it for that reason and that reason alone. And when he accomplished his goal, he was out.
6 months.
6 months. Yeah. I don't judge it. If I do judge it, it was great. I'm happy for him. It was a success story. Too often, I think we put our desires out there. You know, we would want, you know, I would want more for him. I would want what I had when I got at martial arts.
So when we get disappointed.
Yeah. Not everybody's gonna spend 30 years in martial arts. You know, it's just not gonna happen.
So the moral of the story is, don't expect everyone to be like you.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Mm.